All right, so look what I found. This is a 97 Sea-Doo Challenger 1800. Obviously you can read that on your own, but look at the condition of this thing. As I said, this is a 97, but the paint, the graphics, everything looks really good on this. And I won't go all the way around the boat since I'm pinched between the house here, but everything is in good condition on this boat. Almost everything. But the seats, we're going to climb in here. I'm going to show you the upholstery, show you the interior of this thing. Guys, I've looked at many of these boats. In fact, I had been looking for one of these all winter long, and I don't think I ever mentioned that in any of my videos, but my family knew it. And so just now this thing came up, an unbelievable price, and so I jumped on it. It's about a 3-hour drive away. My son went with me, and what makes this even better is this thing was a runner. Yep, one engine, as I was told, fires right up. The other engine, he said, has good compression, but it just will not crank. And he was trying to crank it with the airbox on, just trying to spray some starting fluid down in it. So I snatched this thing up. So let me go ahead and ask the questions for you. Did I do my normal compression check? Nope. What kind of checks did I do on this boat before I hooked it up to my truck and drove off with it? None. Why? All right. Let me give you the quick story, and then we're going to jump in this boat. As I said, I had been looking for this boat, 97, 98 year model specifically. And so this came up, and it was during the week, and I contacted this guy. He still had it. So I took off early from work, grabbed my son, and we were off. And I was still concerned that he would sell this thing right out from under me. And I don't know if you've had that happen. It's happened to me several times, that I'm thinking I have a deal with somebody only to arrive and they've let it go to somebody else. And so I was checking with this guy over the 3-hour drive to make sure he wasn't going to sell it to anybody else. And it was there when I got there. But anyway, the condition, as I said, this trailer, the tires, everything, it just looks great. So we're going to crawl in this thing. Let me show you the rest of the interior, and then, as Paul Harvey said, now for the rest of the story, if that's the way it was said. I can't remember, but oh, you can tell by my voice there's something wrong here, and so let's get into it. All right, so I'm about to step over into this boat. Now there's some dirt, some oil and grease. I don't know if the camera's picking that up. And some dirt on the seats there, but yesterday was the first day I got out here to actually you know, give this boat a good going through and testing some things out. So this is me getting in and out of the boat, and maybe that grease and oil will give you a hint. All right, so let's step over in here, and so look at the condition of the seats and just the upholstery. Now I haven't even gotten to the point where I've given these a good clean yet. So what you're seeing is some stains, and I'm was gonna, in the process of looking to see what the best thing to use to get the stains out of the white seat, but there's no rips, tears, really not a whole lot of fading on this. So the interior is great. Let's have a seat here in the cockpit. The gauges are in great shape. By that I mean they're not hazed and cloudy. Everything looks good. Now I do have that actually I guess came off during the trip back. But so I do have the emblem there, so everything is great, guys. I've looked at boats that didn't even have the even either the glove box cover or half there, but really was blown away when I got there and saw the condition of this boat. So I think I have left the engine compartment open where I can just flip it up, but there's a compression kit down here below me in the boat. If I can lower this down, is my compression gauge, and I don't know if you can pick it up here or not. I'm trying not to drop the camera, guys. I have oil coming out of my hose here. Look at this. All right, let's see if before I grease everything up, let's take a look at the engine compartment and let's get right to it. All right, so here's the story. The engine here, he said, cranks right up and runs. This engine is the one that turns over, cranks over, but would not start. So I'm figuring just needs a carb clean, you know, whatever the case there. And we're good to go. This thing is practically lake ready, just needs maybe some carb rebuild and we are ready to go. But here's the remnants of last night. And I'm going to probably splice in the video just after, but you can see the oil everywhere. So I had an explosion in this thing. So how it happened, going to crank it up. Let's going to hear this thing run. I thought it was just a bad battery, because I couldn't get the engine to turn over. So I know I'm repeating this, it's in the clip that I'm showing you, but I pulled the spark plugs out and I hit it and sprayed everything within 10 feet of this boat with oil. All right, well, look at this. The fun never ends. So what I thought was maybe a low battery issue. So I charged the battery and it didn't make any change. So pulled the plugs off and I've put them back in now. I pulled the plugs off just to see if it would crank over without the plugs, and you see the aftermath. So it blew oil everywhere, all over the seats and everything around here. So I let it run for a while to make sure I got as much of the oil is out. Now the other thing is, real quick, I can turn you around. I know that the engine is full of oil again because my oil level has dropped. So I made note of that, of where that oil level was, if you can see that in the camera. And after I sprayed everything with oil, the oil level went down, so I know the engine is full of oil again. So what do you think? You think I got a bad inner crank seal? Yep, that's what we're looking at. I didn't buy this as a project, but it's kind of par for the course, and just another common story. You get out there, you get a story from the owners, and it doesn't turn out to be what they say it is. So real quickly, back to why did I not do a compression check before I hauled this thing off. All right, here's my story. I took off work early. As I said, I grabbed my son. We made a three-hour drive, and I think in one or two other videos that I've made is I hate to be on the road at night pulling a trailer that I have no history with. When we got there, it was close to dark, and when I saw the condition of this boat, the interior, the exterior, I just said I'll take it, and I got out of there. And I just wanted to get this thing home. I didn't want to be driving late at night out on the road with a trailer. Even though the tires were good, the trailer looked great, and the trailer did pull great. I passed over every test that I would normally do to take a look at this thing's compression checked. Took it as is, and took his word for it, and paying for it now. But you know, as I said in my videos, expect this. Don't expect it to be as they say. Don't expect the stories that you hear. And another situation. So, with question, would I have bought this knowing it had a bad engine? The price that I got it for, yes, I think I would have went ahead and I would have bought this and brought this thing home. So, well, what I thought was going to be an opportunity to get this thing on the lake before this summer is over turns into a winter project and a whole new learning experience. I have never had a you know, an engine obviously out of a boat. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of differences. The two engines are 787s. I'm sure the carbs, linkages and stuff are going to be different as from a boat. I don't know. I'm going to find out, but I'm sure there's going to be differences, and I'm sure there's going to be challenges, and we will go from there. So back to this real quick. I've never obviously experienced oil coming up through my compression tester, so I hope that it hasn't damaged it, meaning that it's not going to read proper pressures. So I'm going to blow some air through it, try to clean it out a little bit, and we're going to hook it up, and we're going to do a compression test on the engine over here that I actually did get running. And I didn't bring the keys, but or the key, but I did get this cranked, and I actually got it cranked without having to pour any fuel down the cylinders or into the carburetors, either one. So I got it running, but what I've discovered last night is it's got a bog to it. I give it throttle, and it just does a lot of hesitating and really doesn't get up to idle. I mean to high RPMs. So it'll crank, it'll idle, and that's it. So I do have I think I have at least one good engine, and we'll have to tackle that one later. So let me get the key. Let's hook the compression gauge up to this thing after I blow it out a little bit, and let's see what we got in this engine over here. Okay, so I'm back in the boat. I've got my key here. Let's just see if there's any juice left in the battery to crank the engine that I did get running last night. Like I said, it would idle okay, but it would not take hardly any throttle. So let's see if we can get it going here. Just real quick here. All right, that's all I'm going to run. But here we go. Take care of our mosquitoes here for a little while. But so that was the engine, guys, that was not supposed to run, or at least would not crank at all, despite all of his efforts. And that was the only engine that was bad. The other one cranked right up. He said right up, immediately touching the start button, fires right up. All right, I'm not even going to turn this over because, guys, I know that we're going to see a fountain of oil, and just going to leave it alone. I know it's filled up again. The cavity inside the case is full of oil, so I'm not going to do that. But what we are going to do real quick, I'll go back here, see if my compression gauge will work. Guys, have y'all had anything like that happen before, where you had oil or anything come all the way up through your compression gauge? So I hope I hadn't damaged that, but we're going to hook it up, see what kind of compression we have on this engine that I just cranked. Hold on. All right, real quick here, picking up my gauge. Let's just see. I was about to hook it to the other end that's already in the cylinder, and if you can see the oil, this was still coming out of the dripping from, and you can kind of see it coming out of my tester, my gauge hose. So like I said, I've never experienced anything like this before, so I got a feeling I don't know, I'm not real comfortable with this, because I think it's just gonna it's not gonna be an accurate reading with oil all in it. Alright, so I'm gonna hook it up anyway, and so let me do that real quick. I won't keep you here, and then when I'm ready to crank this thing, we will I'll bring you back. Alright, so I've got my compression gauge hooked up, but I don't know, this is a smart thing to do. Anyway, I've got it hooked up to the PTO side there, and I'll try it. But guys, I think, you know, this hose is full of oil, so you can see a little bit of remnants of where the oil came out there. So I've probably just blown out my compression gauge, but who knows. Let's see. I'll turn this thing over and real quick, and let's see if we get any kind of a reading on this. All right, here we go. And we're getting nothing. All right, well, that's great. So looks like a new compression gauge is coming. Engine pull and rebuild coming. And let's just hope the engine over here just needs the carb clean that it was told it needed. So alright guys, another chapter, another story of picking up old jet skis. In this case, an old boat. But disappointed, but not unexpected. So alright guys, that's my introduction to the, I guess, my new winter project. And so with that, I guess we will close this video out, and I appreciate you joining me. Any suggestions, ideas? Did I blow out my compression gauge there? So let me know if that's ever happened to you. Obviously, by the time I got the compression gauge on that engine, it had filled back up with oil and just blew it up, I guess. So alright, as I said, appreciate you joining me, and we'll catch you on the next video. See ya.